Hello friends, I'm Fuzzy Viper Shark, and today we are going to start our Madden 7 franchise. This will be the preseason to our franchise of year 1, and this will take us to week 1 of this year. So, first we have to start with all of our new teams and who they will be replacing. So, I will be controlling the Mexico City Sharks. Team number 1 right up on top, and we will be replacing the Miami Dolphins. Team number 2 will be the Louisville Phoenixes, replacing the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 3, we have the Santa Fe Coyotes, replacing the Arizona Cardinals. Then, we have a fan favorite from the XFL, if you know anything about the XFL, the Seattle Sea Dragons. And Dragons is spelled like that because that's all the characters I could get while creating a team name. Seattle Sea Dragons will, of course, be replacing the Seattle Seahawks in the league. Next, we have the DC Red Tails, replacing the, at the time, Washington Redskins. Number 6, we have the Portland Pharaohs, replacing the Atlanta Falcons. Followed by the Utah Steam, replacing the, again at the time, Oakland Raiders. And finally, the first franchise that I started when I restarted playing Madden 7 again, the Florida Geckos, of course replacing the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm going to be the only user of this draft, of course, and the fantasy draft will be on. It's going to be completely brand new teams, and like I said, we are replacing the Dolphins, so we are loading our Mexico City Sharks to replace the Dolphins and beginning our franchise into the fantasy draft. So we are the 9th overall pick in this fantasy draft, and I'm pretty sure it's a snake draft, so we're not going to be the 9th in every round of the 49. So we start with a halfback. I think that's the direction I want to go. I am going to presume that I'm going to get Vince Young at some point for quarterback, a very young quarterback, and I want to give him some help. So I'm going to go with a young Hastings at quarterback. Halfback. And you might notice that there are 2 Larry Johnsons on there, and I think that's because when I made one of the teams, I made it a fantasy team, and after I made the team, it sent me into a draft, and I just drafted all some of the highest rated players I could find. And then when I imported that fantasy team to replace one of the old teams, I don't remember who it is off the top of my head. It doesn't matter. Everything is getting scrambled. But I'm pretty sure it brought in that roster and duplicated some of the players. It's not like any team went out of their way to go grab 2 of the same player, and I don't think it necessarily matters at the end. I'm going to let it slide. I didn't know what I was doing. So, anyway, I didn't go with either of them. I went with the 94 overall, age 22, Hastings. For my second overall pick, I continue to give my young quarterback help, the young quarterback that I have yet to draft, with the help of Steve Smith. A strong number 1 wide receiver with his experience and speed. He will help out on the offense, of course, and that's why I went with him at number 2. And with my third overall pick, I go defense, trying to give a strong opposition to the other side of the ball. We go right outside linebacker. I think I'm going to be running the 4-3. That's what I want to be doing to give a speedy linebacker on the outside, hopefully to contain outside runs and scrambling quarterbacks, and to buy some time for when I do ultimately draft Vince Young. He's got a couple of rounds yet before he's going to go. So build up the defense, starting with a right outside linebacker. You got to go somewhere, so that's where I went. Wasting no time at all, with my 4th pick, I go straight to Devin Hester. And seeing that he is the best available quarterback, I go straight for Vince Young. I guess it's his time. So with the 5th overall pick, I finally get my young quarterback at Vince Young. So hopefully the rest of the draft can go smoothly. I completely break down when it comes to strategy when it comes to this. So who knows how the rest of this is going to go. And immediately after, with the 6th pick, I panic and go for Reggie Bush. I think, looking back at it now, he had a couple of more rounds before he was going to go, but I just saw him high up on the board. I panicked, and I grabbed him instead of going for, I don't know, a lineman of sorts, you know, where the game is won in the trenches. Number 7, I wanted Vernon Davis at tight end, so of course I go straight to Antonio Gates. I pull a little sneaky on myself. And then I finally start to build my offensive line. After a few more picks, I finally decide to give Devin Hester some help. I draft Antonio Cromartie, and at this point you can basically just call me Coach Leonardo DiCaprio because I only like them if they're under 25 years old. So in the notes that I wrote down of the players that I wanted, at wide receiver I said I eventually wanted to get Santonio Holmes, and of course with him available, I go with Greg Jennings. And after 35 picks, picking well over the amount of starters I need, with a couple of backups, I just let the computer simulate the rest of the fantasy draft because I know that it has a better idea of what's best for my team than I do. And with the draft being over, we can finally see who all of our players are. Starting at quarterback, we have Vince Young, followed by Aaron Rodgers, Charlie Hastings at halfback, followed by Reggie Bush. Here we get a good look at our receiving core, led by the 97 overall Steve Smith, followed by the rookie Harry Thompson and Greg Jennings. With a 99 overall center with Fred Bridges and a 94 overall running back of Charlie Hastings, I feel like we're going to be running a lot of halfback dives. Our secondary does leave a lot to be desired, but there is a lot of room for improvement. They are young, so as long as we can keep them healthy, keep them on our roster, and keep improving, they will be great in the future. And I couldn't really care less about the overall, about the kicker and punter. I really just drafted them for kick power and kick accuracy. That's all that matters. This leads me to my favorite part of probably the whole of the franchise, and that is training camp, where I get to do these fun little drills with certain positions and certain players to get their overalls higher. And we start with pocket presence with Vince Young. This is the only training camp minigame that we can play with Vince Young. There is another one that quarterbacks can do, and we're going to have to do it with a different quarterback, but we'll get to that later. We start with pocket presence and Vince Young, which is a little funny because people think of him as a scrambling quarterback, and so maybe pocket presence is a good learning step for him to get better as a quarterback. This is also a mini camp drill that I am not the best at. Of course, I can play it on rookie and get gold on it, but it's really not going to get any better than that. So I stop after I get gold on rookie. So now we get to take those 3 points and allocate them to throw accuracy or awareness. And here is where I demonstrate the cheese that I was talking about in the Who Remembers video, where all you need is 3 points, and with 3 points, you can continue to put on an infinite amount of points available on whatever skill is available. And here, just for demonstration, I put that throw accuracy as far up as I can, but it does work the opposite way, so I do put it back to where it was originally, and then I put my 3 points allocation on. Now with chase and tackle, we get all of these players to choose from. I choose defensive tackle Haloti Ngata to do the minicamp drill of chase and tackle. I just don't stop at rookie. I take Haloti Ngata to pro difficulty to get a couple of more points, and by a couple I mean 1 when I easily get gold on this chase and tackle drill. But I stop at pro because on all pro they add a blocker, and I'm not as confident in myself and skills as I am when there's not a blocker. So we stop at gold on pro difficulty. And we put all 4 of those points on awareness, bumping up his overall to 84. I choose Antonio Cromartie for the SWAT ball minicamp drill, and I quickly find out why he is on defense. That's because he has bricks for hands. But I feel like I am better at this game now than I was when I was a kid, so I understand the mechanics and strategy for SWAT ball. So I take Antonio Cromartie beyond the rookie level of SWAT ball, and we get as maximum amount of points as we possibly can, taking his skills all the way to getting bronze on all Madden, which I'm pretty sure I have never done. So I'm real proud of myself. I'm real proud of Cromartie. He gets to stay on the team, and he gets those 4 bonus points. And those points go straight to his catching because, believe you me, he needs it. Trench fight isn't even worth talking about because I am absolute dog doo-doo at it, and it takes me way too long to even get a bronze on the easiest difficulty, so we're just going to skip over it and pretend it never happened because, according to the game, it never did. Clutch kicking doesn't get hard until the all Madden difficulty when you're kicking from 47 yards away and the wind speed is variable, and what's cool about clutch kicking is that it's not based on the number of attempts you have, but by time remaining. So when it gets to the longer yardage field goals, they take longer, and thus you have to be more accurate with fewer attempts. And to get gold on all Madden, you need 2,100 points. I finish off this minicamp drill with 500 points to go with 2 kicks left, absolutely drilling the second to last kick down the middle for 300 points, leaving 150 to go, and of course, I put the clutch in absolutely unclutch and just get the inside of the upright for 75 points, leaving me 75 points short of the gold on all Madden clutch kicking. Our next minicamp drill is the coffin corner punt, where with each increase in difficulty level, the corners get smaller. I was just having fun with this one. This one is attempt based, so it's not timed. You can take your time aiming and adjusting for the wind and everything. But it isn't the most pivotal of the minicamp drills. I do enjoy it, but I feel like there isn't much to it, so it is what it is. But I do absolutely clutch it on the all Madden difficulty with a 12-mile-an-hour wind with 100 points to go to get bronze, drills it into the corner, giving him his 4 attribution points. What can we do with Aaron Rodgers in precision passing? Not much. Each difficulty gives us 3 routes to throw balls through these floating rings, each with increasing points based on bronze, silver, or gold, with a catch bonus. If we complete all 3 passes in less than 6 turns, we get a turn bonus. In my opinion, this is the second hardest minicamp drill after trench fight. I'm not a good passer, let alone precision passer, and getting through those hoops is just so frustrating sometimes. It's so hard to tell where they are in the depth of space to try to throw them through, and that's why I usually have the quarterback scrambled to get myself a better angle to throw through the hoop. What's it matter if I throw through the hoop or not if the receiver is going to catch it? Plus, the defender is going to be moving all over the field. It's not going to be a stationary hoop in the middle of the field during a game that I'm going to have to throw through in order to get the catch. That bronze will get him 1 point. I was going in order, but for some reason I skipped rushing attack to go to catch ball with Greg Jennings. The gameplay and idea for catch ball is very similar to SWAT ball, except you don't have mannequins, you just have a little target on the field that you have to run to and catch the ball with. The nice 4-figure score in all pro, I mean just regular pro, we take him to all pro to see what he can do there. And he gets gold for a nice nothing to sneeze at 5 points to put towards his attributes. We take right there. We take the deal. No more. We don't want to risk him, because if we risk him, we lose him. He gets the 5 points. And to finish up our minicamp drills, we have rushing attack, which we will be doing with Reggie Bush. Starting off with a blocker and 2 defenders, we breeze past them in rookie for 4,480 points. Of course, we will be taking those skills to pro. Now, with 3 defenders, with our original blocker, we get a silver with our 1,530 points. And I've always felt that pro was harder than all pro because while they still have 3 defenders, pro has 2 secondary defensive players, whereas in all pro, it's like 2 defensive linemen or 2 linebackers, which makes it really hard for them to cover more of the field on an outside run. Now, while not a silver, because I did make some mistakes along the way as I am a little rusty, we still get a bronze with a respectable 1,010 points, and on All-Pro that is going to be the same amount of points as silver would have been on Pro. Whoa, now wait a minute, Reggie Bush decides to take on 4 defenders in all Madden to go for the maximum amount of points as he possibly can. This nets him a scraping by with 840 points, with 4 points to add to this player's attributes. Now with minicamp over and our lineup and depth charts set, I take a closer look at some of the players because I know that those little icons next to their names mean some type of roles and they expect things in the future, and I don't know exactly what, so I'd take a look at that. But I first start off with Vince Young and naming him captain of the team. He has the role of QB of the future, which he is considered the QB of the future by his franchise, and this role is applied to a QB that is drafted in the first round and is a prototype NFL QB. I didn't draft him in the first round, but he was when he was actually drafted. Regardless, the player will lose the role if another QB is drafted in the first round while he's on the roster, which I don't believe is going to happen, or if he fails to meet expectations by his 4th year. I don't know what those expectations are, but he's already starting and he's got the job, so he should be happy. He also has the first round pick role, where he expects to start every game by his 3rd year in the league. And this being his first year and the starter, that shouldn't be a problem. This increases the player's value by 75%, and I didn't show it, but the QB of the future increases his trade value by 25%. Now, Reggie Bush is a different story. He has the role of future star. He's considered a future star. It's applied to a player that is drafted in the first round and who has exceptional talent. I didn't draft him, but in real life he was drafted in the first round, and he loses this role if he fails to meet expectations by his 4th year. He's also an offensive playmaker. This role will be removed if this player throws 15 interceptions, which I hope he does not do, please God, or has 5 fumbles. Ooh, that might be an issue. He expects to start every game, which, again, might be an issue. He might not necessarily start every game, but he will probably play every single game, and this increases the player's value by 6% as well. Ooh, and something useful, depending on his position, which this should be a position that does make sense. This player will receive attribute boosts in-game for 3rd down plays and in the 4th quarter. Those are the 2 players that we will be keeping an eye on for now. We'll go through some other ones as they develop throughout the season. I quickly simulate the preseason because I'm not going to play the preseason. Let's get straight into the regular season. That's where we will pick up next time. And start off our regular season against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. The first Thursday night game of the season to kick off the regular season, so that will be fun. So if you want to see that, please join me for next time. Like and subscribe if you made it this far. I can't thank you enough for watching. This is only the beginning of the Mexico City Sharks. I'm Fuzzy Viper Shark. Peace.